Thank you, Zeke. This is Sancho West alongside Sundown. This is game 3 of day 2. Heat 1. We all know all the other heats are happening simultaneously, and we will soon get our top 8 from each of the heats. That's going to be 32 teams to get into the grand finals. And of course, all the rest from 9 through 16 in those heats will all compete in the epic, pun intended, wild card match. And here we go. Let's take a look at the first zone here. And hey, it looks like it's going to be what we've been traditionally have been seeing the FNCS Trio broadcast. Most likely a Stark finish? Question mark?
Yeah, we're pulling a little bit north. We had a couple of opportunities to go up there yesterday, a little away from that Sentinel graveyard now. So we're hopping on board here with our match 8 winners. Don't forget, we have 4 more matches total here. This is match 9 underway right now. Pink 8, Void, and Monster Muncher on one of those southern scavenger routes where kind of you hit the initial shack that's right up there, the llama house, and then you immediately go kind of get whatever fishing spots on this backhand side you can. There's also on these islands, there's a ton of excess metal and an upgrade bench that's accessible, but you can see right now they're trying to set up an ambush on another one of the scavenger route teams, and this player is super isolated, so this should be relatively free for them. Like, his other teammates aren't even remotely close unless they have utility to get to him, but we've seen that these guys can finish a fight quickly if they need to, and right now they really need to. Pressing forward, utilizing that uncommon tactical SMG, not something you necessarily see all that often, but really good for the early game pressure when that's all you can get your hands on. And Kwasabi is going to be cleaned up before his teammates can even make it over to him. So doing a good job making sure they shake down, get the information, and get that max damage pump onto him as well for all that Storm Surge.
Monster Muncher, Void, and PK are in 13th place. Even despite getting the Victory Royale, they're 5 spots away from getting the guaranteed ticket into it. Now, yes, they're going to be able to compete in the wild card if they hold on to their spot, but hey, man, we've never, ever seen a wild card where it is a Victory Royale. It's not about placement points. It's not about popping off with elims. It's just about that VR Victory Royale, baby.
So I'm going to throw it all the way back in the day. So not anything where Epic has had like the full official tournaments. That's never existed. But all the way back when we had the summer skirmish invitational types.
Yes.
Some of the invites on there, we actually ended up doing a couple of custom matches to do like some real big stress server tests back in the day. And there were a number of players who ended up getting through on that track. I believe Vanguard Carry and Kez KD were 2 of the players who had actually got into the skirmish through that way and kind of got their competitive Fortnite career kicked off and jump-started via that. So it's not a never, but it's something in a traditional, like, complete open format. And when I say, like, starting there, that's kind of starts in the Winter Royale of 2018, where anybody, anywhere, as long as you're eligible, is able to compete. This is the first time we've ever seen it.
And I gotta say, that feeling of being able just to be in a tournament, to be invited, to be part of the summer skirmish, you don't forget that experience. You don't forget that experience of seeing yourself on the leaderboard. You don't forget the experience of being on the main broadcast. You don't forget these moments. And these are the moments that we're gonna see who could carry into their not only Fortnite career, but their gaming career entirely. And that was what gets me hyped, is just to think of the future of Fortnite, and at the same time, the future of our players' careers. The Kasperses, the Fixies, the Zenies. Can they be the next Benjis, the next Savages? And it all starts with a moment. And this could be their moment, Sundown. And already that, not even making it to any qualifiers as they're dealing with some pressure, but to be in a top 6 situation, that is very impressive. And they should be able to build on that for their future.
Yeah, and they want to keep rolling with it, especially as a trio who wasn't able to make those round 3s. We kind of talked about it, the consistency points. And a lot of people in the community honestly meme on some of those series points, but especially in a region like Europe, going from the top 1K to the top 33, which was the qualification format for round 2 to round 3 during the qualifier weeks, is so incredibly hard, being one of those top 33 trios in 3 different instances. But now, given the opportunity and being put with other world-class trios, they've shown that they can play the consistency game, but can they keep it up over all 12 of the games? Because as we've seen, at least so far, that regardless of the amount of RNG, over 12 games, if you're going to have those performances, they're there for the taking. Any team who is capable of winning a match on that day is going to be able to find it. And one team who's been doing a good job at capitalizing on their opportunities is now going to get caught a little bit, as Lecce is able to find a little bit of the Godset trio here, and seems like nobody was even close enough to kind of cover him. So that's going to be a free conversion and storm search going on to him here.
We're watching Benji, Lecce, and Savage trying to find this footing in day 2, and that Godset trio is sitting in 9th place. And just to show you, Benji's trio is sitting in 7th, but they're only separated by about, let me see, my math is right, 2 points. 2 points is separating, so that's going to be big. That's going to be a big opportunity for Lecce trios to kind of gatekeep them for a brief moment to slow down their rise. As Zappy, Michael, and Wakey, they had a good finish to day 1. And again, they kind of tweeted out saying like, hey, we figured out to get the end game, but can you figure out to get the end game when you have Savage, Lecce, and Benji on your tail? Not sure, but at least the pursuit gets hauled off, as now you see Benji using the arcane gauntlets from Victor Von Doom as they get another battle on their way. But to leave that battle to this one, we have Mongrel, Mitro, and Tayson having some visitors to their POI in Stark Industries.
And Mongrel opens up this fight by eating back-to-back 66 tags. So
delicious.
Putting him down to 68 HP. Not necessarily winning that trade there. Tayson going to open up the wall, say hit you with a couple bandages there. Don't worry, no need to pop him. I got the cannon. Just hitting him with it right as soon as he opens the edit, and Mongrel will be forced to also burn a couple of his shields there, but has plenty extra. However, I don't think you necessarily want to get bogged down in a wall-to-wall fight here against the Ovation trio. Like, they've proved that they can be sticky enough that if they are able to hold you here and you're not able to get a second zone, it's probably not worth their time. And right as I say that, actually, the second zone is just a hop, skip, and the jump away. You can see the white line there in the bottom right-hand corner representing where they have to go, and it's just a little bit to the east.
It's like Mitra, Mongrel, and Tayson are rocking the flyest sneakers, right? And all of a sudden, they step in that gum. And that gum could just ruin their entire day. They're going to have to spend time to clean it, to get it off. You know how it is with the sneakerheads out there. There's nothing like rocking a fresh pair of shoes on its first day here. And Mongrel, Tayson, and Mitra are rocking the freshest of shoes of the Stark Industries. And every time they're trying to walk out the door, all of a sudden a new competitor shows up and sticks to them like gum.
Yeah, and Zestin, Scout, and Ariane are doing a good job right now of maintaining the high ground and just being a little bit of a pest. You talk about the gum on your shoe or the gnat around your ear, whichever one it is. They're going to now opt to break out the fly swatter in the form of a shockwave, but instead he gets struck down from the sky. And time again, we've talked about it, when Mongrel goes down early, this trio struggles, but he's the playmaker and the one who accounts for all the eliminations. So it's kind of a win harder, lose harder situation. You kind of got to let him off of his leash, but at the same time, you have to be close enough to prevent those full eliminations from going out, as he's going to get cleaned up. And I promise you, the Ovation trio is now sitting on top of that card, making sure they can't get that reboot out.
Let me give you more promises. Michael, Wakey are making their way in. Their rotation sending them this way. Don't forget, out in the distance, Benji, Lecce can make their way through here. And you're taking a look. So much of the lobby is now showing up. We have Caprese, Zinni, Flicky, Fixie here as well. So all these trios are kind of now washing over here, and that's going to cause everyone to full retreat. And Fixie is like, yo, let's just ignore that. It's like a kind of like rubbernecking for a minute. Let's look at the crash that's happening, but let's just keep moving forward and just get our way on our day.
And for all of you new drivers out there, don't ever rubberneck. Don't add to the problem. Don't add to the traffic. It's bad. And especially in Fortnite too, I'll give you that advice. Don't rubberneck. Don't get bogged down in these fights. Don't even look for a half second. Don't pause and think, hey, maybe I could hit a snipe. Maybe I could hit a couple AR tags. Well, I promise you, the entirety of the west side of the map is rotating that direction right now. They're trying to make sure they're up on the high ground and they don't get forced into a situation where they then have have to battle with that absolutely monstrous change in geography that comes with Stark Industries in upstate New York. So that's why you saw so many people rotating through. However, I do need to make a correction. The Ovation Trio opted not to sit on top of the card, so we were able to actually see Tayson sneak on in there, snag Mongrel's card, and then get out of dodge. So now we'll be kind of keeping an eye on whether or not we see Mongrel back up in the feed, because that's something they prioritize right away. If he gets knocked, they try and look and create space so they can get his card. Then they will go and prioritize finding a reboot van and giving him priority weapons to get him back on his feet. He is that good and that important to the trio.
We got it all here, folks. We have geography lessons, Fortnite rotation lessons, driving lessons. Absolutely. We got it all here. This is what we're talking about. FNCS Trios, official broadcast, bringing the noise. And Copperson and Fixie and Zini are trying to bring the noise as well. This is their play style. This is what they like to do. They kind of take peeks in here. They try to sneak away, get any limbs here. Warren right there from Zini gets a nice picks on the day. That's their style. And it all accumulates with placement. So they're not yet. They're about 16 places away just to be placement points, but that's a little nice bonus for this trio, knowing that they're so strong in-game. And this is the traffic jam that Sundown was talking about. These Western teams coming in, now getting pushed from the storm. They're Mitra and Tayson are out. They're trying to do the best. They could not bring back Mongrel for that moment, considering there was so much chaos there. They just couldn't leave. But we're going to see this finish here. We talked about these Stark Industries finishes, Polar Peak 2.0, and already the safe zones half in and half out in that elevation area where it gets super dangerous.
And right now you can see they're trying to utilize the Stark Industry Rifle plus the burst. We've talked about this combination being so incredibly effective at just sneaking in high damage bursts through walls. If you're able to find just a pair of those bursts or even one single Stark Industries headshot, you can chunk people through and all of a sudden turn it into picks. Now, you have to remember those reboot cards do have an expiration timer on it, so you can kind of sense now that Mitro and Mongo are just letting this go and instead opting to play for the aggression. And Mitro going to find Linked right there. We'll see if he sets it up for his classic play and instead going to opt to hold on to that shockwave for now, just instead finding Michael FNR right on the side there. He says, hey, you can have Twitch in your name, but you're going to be the one watching my gameplay for the rest of this stream. Thanks for the elimination. Thanks for the point. Link will get revived, but they know they're in these box. They know they have them pinned here. The wall replaces are coming out, the ownership coming in, but a good disengage, a little bit of a sneakiness coming out right now, but it seems like he's located him. He's found him, boxed him in, not quite like a fish as he's able to exit out the backhand side. Just a little bit of a gap in the cage as Tayson and Mitro continue. They're relentless, but they're going to get pushed back a little bit here as the zone is also moving forward, and Tayson eats a huge shot.
I was going to say, like, if they were able to wrap all that up, like, quickly, there would be a real slight chance to go into zone, eat Storm, and recover, reboot Mongrel. Not sure they have the card, but that would have been a play if they were able to kind of get that. And I think they kind of got gatekeep away from Mongrel's card, so that play was not available, but now they have to figure out how to survive without Mongrel, the one that can their ultimate closer, the one that gets so much confidence in them. But I think they could definitely do it. Tayson and Mitro, they have it in them. They haven't showed it yet in the FNCS Trios, but now would be a better time as ever because they're sitting in 4th place right now with 127 or so points before this match started.
Yo, I want to see them hawk that trio. They should know that the two remaining duos, Link and I think it's Seventor, who is with him, they should know they're low. They should know they burned them through so much. And here they are on the side, rotating right next to him. However, Tayson eats a snipe from the opposite side. So now box-to-box fight, and that's Link going to get taken down there. Has the bandage cannon and the siphon off. Tried to get the bandage cannons off so he could get some shield from the siphon, but instead it's going to be forced to take over for health. Now Mitro is going to be gate kept from the side. That's Versa, Jake I, and Swaps keeping our 4th place team out. And now it's all on the back of E11 Tayson, and his back broke there, and it was on the rest of the lobby. The Ovation trio, Nikeva and Kaxi as well, adding into the strain, and it wasn't the straw, but the AR bullet that was enough to send him over, and the camel that went crashing down as we're going to hop on board here. Thomas HD, Anas, and Flick is down yet again. But, however, one thing we do want to talk about, Flick accounts for 75% of their eliminations pre-round 5. So it's kind of like they let him go loose with the idea that he's going to convert in some way, shape, or form. But as long as Thomas and Anas are up in these late game situations, they have the ability to get them their points. So it's kind of a different take we see from a lot of other trios.
Yeah, it's like Thomas HD and Nas says, let just Flick keep shooting. Let Flick be the aggressor, knowing that he could do his best and get those kind of last-second elims as much as possible. But I always say a trio, it works together. It doesn't matter who gets the most points. It doesn't matter who clutches up. It all works at the end of the day. But what's working for Thomas HD and Anas is just their aggressive play, their phenomenal positioning as well, as you're seeing that they're sitting on top of the radio antenna. So this is going to give them a nice opportunity to be at a high kind of bounce, and then you're setting up here. Oh, almost didn't get it as clean as you're looking for here. No doubt Thomas was looking for that bounce to get out of this radio tower. But yes, that's going to be, they're going to send Anas away. But is Thomas here to gatekeep? Is Thomas going to here to fight? No. Okay, there it goes. There goes Thomas. He gets sent away as he does get a to-go elimination right there. He's going to get a second piece on Leon. Gets Leon. Gets the other trio mate. Thomas is cooking up right now.
He has no business getting these eliminations, but time and time again, misses the first crash bag, goes back, hits it again, and then just finds himself in a 1v2. He says, excuse me, sorry, didn't know you two were here. Pick them both up, take them out like some bad Chinese food. No problem there. He says, those were 2 cheap points. Easy enough. And now, again, priority position, zone kind of creeping in, but they have excess mats to be able to just tarp out there in the hard materials, going to be able to build with brick and metal. So our top trio, again, we're going to be seeding them probably into the placement points and having an opportunity to earn more, as we see Kaijui and Co. under a little bit of pressure there just outside of Dirty Docks as the rotation is going to begin coming out here. 4th zone will be revealed and we'll have our 50-50 soon.
At the same time, Lechi, Savage, and Benji are still up as well. We already saw Mongrel, Micho, and Tayson go down. So, wow, Caprese gets tracked, gets beamed, gets converted, toasts. 1 point elim going to Thomas HD, and they're going to be so aggressive considering that the zone pulls here and already make their rotation. The green light was on, getting that obstacle out of the way, and they're going to get that loot. Strong rotation. But we're going to take a look and a tour as Alpha, Nikov, and Blaster, one of the trios that were we highlighted at the very beginning, had a great run in qualifiers, haven't found their footing here in the heats. And they want to avoid that wild card because so much chaos will happen to that. I guarantee it. You don't want to miss out because that is when tensions will be at an all-time high before we get into the Grand Champions. Now we're taking it in the half in and half out. It is a little bit on the beach side, a little bit of the sand. And then 6, 7, 8, 9 will be full rotations with the 9th zone coming to the ultimate close. We've had some great performances so far, but I'm expecting a back-to-back or at least a 2-time Victory Royale in the heats from Thomas HD and company.
I mean, we'll be interested to see if they're able to close out here. I mean, honestly, I think they'll remain on top of the leaderboard, but whether or not they have the ability to finish out these matches when they have such a low percentage of keeping the full trios up, we often see in Europe that the actual victor will come down to kind of that final moment in that 3v2v1, or whether or not the trio is able to really close, and the onus is on them most of the time. However, if anybody's able to turn the tables in those situations, it's Thomas HD and Anas doing their best DJ Yonder impression and spinning the record around in their favor time and time again. But right now, everybody crowding in towards that beach front, and we're going to be pulling north and west a little bit here. So back onto land, but not too much change in verticality, which is going to signal whoever's on high ground is likely going to be able to hold it at least for the next cycle or 2 before a challenge will come out.
In your mind's eye, just remember, Thomas AJ and Anas went down to the bottom left corner of that, so they have a lot of arrows to go through. This trio right here that we're watching, Alpha, Blaster, and Nikov, are going to have to figure out how they're going to, and this is where the importance of the in-game leader. They're going to decide to maybe pepper it in. They're going to pop the peppermints, which give you that power. They're going to see if they're going to misplay right then and there. It's a sloppy rotation, but sometimes the sloppiest of Joes can be tasty, but this is not looking good, Sundown. A little bit of a misplay with that bouncer shockwave play, but luckily the peppermints come into play as a backup plan, and Alpha is speeding his way on foot to a very decent opportunity with the clay special as well. well, this might be a very fortunate situation as he's trying to get his way back to Blaster Nikov. And yes, the peppermints were the key to that kind of recovery on that fumble.
Yeah, I think the benefit there is nobody, absolutely nobody wanted to be on the water side. So despite him being thrown out there, everyone else was so worried about trying to rotate into this absolutely pack of everyone. We have 36 players still remaining. We are just now into our first placement points as we will be getting those ticked over. Alpha finds Dasik with a huge elimination there. They're going to grab the loot from that as well, but it's not much. Jake I is going to take down Thomas HD, so the clutch opportunity is all for Become a Legends Nos here in game number 9. You can see Astro also picking up Stir 6. iDrop, though, will return the favor and find the double onto Mexi before Stir 6 ticks over. So still a little bit of heroics to be played here. Savage back up on his feet. Benji in this one as well. Can they stop their slide as Kaxi, as soon as I call him out, is going to be able to take him over, but a little bit of help from Nikov there to prevent the gatekeeper from really taking hold, and a double ends up sliding through, and that's a full elim onto iDrop as well. Some big eliminations ticking over for the French trio as the rotation continues coming off, and look at the carnage on the backside right now, Sancho.
You do not want to be on that backside, and Savage is on that backside right now, down to the green HP. But we're going to keep on track with this story right here, Blaster Alpha Nico, who are trying to find their footing and trying to put the stamp into this game right here. And this is a big time as they catch Lechi on the front of the zone, and they get 2 elims right here, right now. They're already sitting with 6 eliminations, and this is what the power of the low ground is, but you got to protect your head there. Doesn't get any kind of build, takes a couple of beams, but he does have the shield to hold on. But it's Vedil and Fast Roki who are sitting at height right now, and that is going to be a strong performance for them considering they're in the top 3, and they're looking really good. 200 HP, looking healthy.
And you can see 3v2v1 now with Nikov and Alpha being the 2, Zestin of Ovation being the last one on the low ground, but looks like high ground is now trying to drop down and get a little aggro. Vedil and Fastroki saying, no, we know where your tarps are. Just making sure they're staying ahead of it, still have plenty of builds to be able to ride this high ground out as it does double back over a little bit. So it's going to be on Ovation, Fastroki, and Wave Vedil to close this match out. They're already sitting on 8 eliminations. You can see them opting to split the builds. Fastroki saying, hey, I'm going down. I have the shockwave if necessary to close this one out. And right now, again, just forcing it down. The 1v1 on the low ground occurring. You can see just a little bit of a room. The 2v2v1, apologies, Zestin in a cone trying to get away and find a little bit of space, but Fastroki going to clean that one up. Now 2v2, and it's Alpha and Nikov on the other side of it as Fastroki and Vedil have control of the high ground. Fastroki got the extra mats as well, so they'll have more than enough control, but can Nikov find the room as Alpha gets taken down, and it's a 1v2, but it should be all she wrote, and Fastroki does it with a nice little 180 flick off the side.
11 elims, Fast Roki with the back-to-back